VeeFam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the VeeFam Sessions. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I am so happy to be here with one of my dear friends in the space, Web3 Enthusiast, just a beautiful spirit, VeeFriend, of course, Miss Liza Lopez. Liza, how are you, my friend?
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for this amazing invitation. Oh, I have been waiting for this session together for a while. So it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So excited.
I'm so excited. It has been a long time. I can't remember. It probably over a year in real time.
Yep.
Like we just talked about how busy, crazy we've been in our lives. It's definitely been probably a year. So happy to finally do it. And
Mm.
I'm trying to think now, like, did I meet you at VeeCon 1? Or what? When did we first meet?
And vegan
Was
one.
it the ACT test? It was VeeCon 1.
Oh
Okay.
no, wait.
It may have been
No,
Miami.
I think it was in Miami and Art Basel that we did the Access event. Yeah, I think it was there. You're right. You're right. You're totally right.
Well,
Wow.
I remember meeting you there specifically um, one day when I was just kind of walking around the gateway, the NFT gateway, and
Hmm.
you and Michelle and Nikki took me kind of under your wing, and you gave me the whole Miami thing. We went to some authentic Spanish food trucks and the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was a really great day.
Of
Um,
course, it was fun.
so let's get into it. So like I always start this by taking a step back, and I'd love to know, we'd love to know just kind of like your 55-second Cliff Notes story version, as Gary says, comic book chapter one on who Liza is before you even heard the name Gary V.
Wow. Well, actually was into wine. I'm still into wine, so that's why I got into Gary. But yeah, I think back at the time, yeah, I was working and living like very standard normal life. I have been always been like curious and being into innovation and how to do things differently and feeling myself in everything I do, like in job related relationships and what I do with my life. So I'm always like constantly looking for that. So that's why I got into Gary at the beginning. Of it was wine because we share that passion for wine. Um, but before that, it was like, yeah, that always looking for the next thing that make me feel more like self-aware and yeah, and sharing that accountability around the process of how to grow as a in professionally and personally. So that's why I connected with him back in 20, I don't even remember, 2005, maybe, or 06. Yeah,
Oh, so
a while
early.
ago. Yep, yep.
And so you were into that. He was always on to the next thing. Were you like that, like as a kid? Were you a curious child?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because when I was, hmm, I always have been that kid. Well, we were two in my family, like my mom and dad and my sister and I. And I always have been that child, like who's put the challenge on them. On okay, she's trying to do a new thing. She's trying to get together with a lot of plans and friends. Actually, my mom, she's always like making fun jokes about how I've always came back at home and saying like, "Oh, mom, Rob invited me to this." It was like, "No, Rob didn't invite you to this. I know you planned this whole thing and get together and try new things." So I was like, "Yeah, that's me." But the tricky part was I'm not an extrovert 100%. Like I'm like this when we know each other. It's like after we met and we got together with Nikki and with the story you were telling, um, we put people on board with us like family. That's how we are in Latin America. So it's very easy for us to do that. And then I get very like close and talking and I chat a lot and I talk a lot. But the rest of the time I have been struggling to do that first step to get and do the network and connect with other people. So always put myself in a little uncomfortable situation where I know I have to get through that, and then beautiful relationships happens and friendships and professional growth and all of that. So yeah.
Mm. I wouldn't have guessed that you were an introvert. I um
Believe it or
I
not.
wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to offer that feedback. Because even, when I saw you, and we'll get into VCon and stuff, but when I think I saw you at the VCon after, it was like I just had that feeling like I had known you forever. Um
Oh,
And
that's so
like,
sweet.
I don't know, it was just there. And it's, especially thinking back to when we first met, you were just very outgoing and approachable and kind, and you know, all the things that everyone loves about you.
Oh.
So you get into Gary. What do you doing for work? What'd you do for school to kind of start you on the path when you were, you know, a teenager, figuring out how you were gonna navigate the world?
Cool. Well, I was born in Ciudad Bolivar. It's a very small town in Venezuela, in the south of the country. Very is like everything is like funny. It's so funny because most of the people say like, "Oh, I know where Caracas is," which is the capital of the country, which is the main city. It's like, "Oh, you know Miami." Everybody knows Miami, but I'm pretty sure if you tell a name for a small town, I don't know, somewhere in the U.S., people are like, "Where is that?" So, sample, it was exactly the same for me. I'm a small town girl, but very curious and very, yeah, like willing to what's next. What always looking for that thing or that connection or that other environment that put me in a new meeting new people, getting into new like new cultures and all of that. So since I was very, very little, I was like always doing my mom, it was like, okay, if you wanna get something or if you wanna know new people, wanna meet new people, wanna do different things, you have to do things differently. So I always like push myself into, okay, I don't know, I wanna have more friends. So where are the new potential friends doing? I was like, okay, I'm gonna practice, I don't know, soccer. And yeah, and I was living in a small town, like, oh, come on, girls that don't play soccer, you cannot get into a soccer team because you're a girl. I was like, okay, we're dealing with it. But I was pushing so hard that my dad was like, I don't care if you want to do soccer or tennis or whatever, we're gonna put you in classes so you can feel however you want to feel and do the things that you like. So I started to do that step by step, and it was very, and it still is very uncomfortable to put myself in an environment that I don't necessarily control, but I know that's in my inner heart what I'm looking for. So I don't let my fears control what I do next most of the time. It doesn't happen like that all the time. But following that path, I was into garage selling. I was into doing, I don't know, like selling cookies to people, to my friends, to my family's friends, and all of that. So I was doing, as soon as I finished high school, I moved to Caracas, which is the next big thing that was in my country available for me to go and experiment. So I moved to Caracas to study college. It was liberal studies. That's my major. And I was getting into different niches like entertainment, construction, logistics, and different fields. And the things that was like connecting the dots every single time is like it didn't matter what I do. My main goal is always have like great connections, like meeting new people for who they are and know what they can do or the how do you say the titles they have. So
Hmm.
it's very now it's very funny and very like how do you say like heartwarm for me because every single person that I still know these days and you can ask them like what's a thing in common that you can say about Lisa in the lifetime you have met them is like exactly what you just said. Like she welcomed me with a warm heart, with a total witness and a smile to put me on board on her team or her life or her relationship without thinking what they can do or who's the next person he can lead me to. I don't work that way. So it didn't matter if I was a child or a teenager or now that I'm an adult living my life. My how do you say my essence is same, it's exactly the same. And actually I remember very vividly to ask Gary in the last weekend was like, Gary, I still struggle with this, like getting into people for the first time, like doing that first step to approach someone and they can feel authentically that I'm here because I want them to feel happy and engaged and like and we can like build something for the good reason just for the sake of meeting new people. It's a challenge. Was like, yeah, but you cannot be. And I remember he told me like, this is the safest place. You can try this and be open to someone else who's willing to meet a new friends. You don't necessarily have to approach people because you think, oh, he's I don't know, Rob, and he's gonna lead me to this next step on this stuff. and being able to reconnect to that same feeling and sensation that I have been struggling for years, and have that freedom to continue being that person despite now we are adults and dealing with different stuff and responsibilities. It was very refreshing and even liberating. So one of the things I'm like always coming back to the point like this, that's self-aware. Like I know I'm feeling this way. I know this is my heart talking to you. So that's what I'm gonna do. And if I can do something for you in the now or in the future, I will do it, because we have this connection, and because we know each other so well that I'm willing to do it. And not necessarily to do a strategic move, how you move the pieces with people. So that's a thing that brought me here.
I love that. And before we move on, you mentioned garage sailing. Is there like an epic score that you remember from your garage sailing days? Was there like something that you found that was like completely unbelievable that you sold for like $1 million?
Wow, to remember, not so much, because I was doing it as an activity to meet new people. So they like they approach you to say, oh, you have this type of item and stuff. So it was more like a way to meet new people through their interest, more than the items I could find. So it wasn't not about collecting stuff or selling some stuff. It's more like, I don't know, like a network technique that I used back in time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, so you're following Gary. Are you like, there's obviously different levels to Gary. There's people that like kind of check in with him every now and then, maybe have a book, follow him on one of the platforms, and then there's like Gary Maxis that, are tapped into everything, the first in line. Where are you on that pendulum?
I think well, it's funny because like 6 months ago, I will tell if 1 out of 10, I will be an 8. Now I would say I'm a 6, because of like life changing stuff.
Sure.
Like I'm focusing now. I have a new job, and I moved back to my parents' house because my sister is moving out. So I was like, I want to be more present with them and trying to figure out something else. But yeah, I still like, I pre-ordered the book. He just gonna launch it now. I made, but both of them, I have the shoes. I have VeeFriends. I breathe VeeFriends, not the cards part, to be honest. I'm still trying to figure it out and trying to catch up with the thing. But yeah, I have been following Gary podcast. I listen to that podcast every single week, every single episode. So I love it. So I have my own way to still be in the environment and get together with the VeeFan all the time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So winding the clock back to May of 2021, or probably earlier, when he started ringing the bell for people to learn about Ethereum, get a MetaMask. You obviously are a big Web3 enthusiast. You have that vision. You see it. It doesn't, some people see it or they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Were you dabbling in crypto prior to that, or were you kind of getting onboarded with the rest of the Gary community at that time?
Actually, I would say a mix, because I remember my brother-in-law was into crypto before Gary started with the VeeFriends and everything else. But for me, it was like, good to know. I mean, I was aware about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and all the exchanges and stuff, but it wasn't my interest to like actually get on board with that. Once Gary, I remember he launched 2.5, and I think, yeah, I remember he was like launching the book, so you need to get 12 books to get a token, blah, blah, blah. So, and I was getting on board with that, I think with the majority of people, into what NFT was, what blockchains, how that can improve the environment. So I followed that lead once he told us to get on board and do our 40 hours. I remember before, I was a week or 4 hours a month to learn more about the technology. And I'm definitely, that got me hooked. It was cool because Gary was pretty much my mentor into that. And I was like, okay, I just reached out to my brother-in-law, was okay, now talk to me more about this. because this is happening. And you were talking about this a few months ago, so I want to know more. So yeah, I was pretty much following Gary's lead, and nowadays is like I can totally see that. Actually, I was doing a Twitter space uh, 4 hours ago with Rock Radio in Spanish, because I love to do this. A lot of things happening in English for the American community or the people who speak English in general, but
Hmm.
we don't see the same speed in Latin America or in Spanish, like even including Spain. So once I started to understand how everything's going and how things flow with the blockchain and with the technology, it was like I wanted to be part of the solution, but I also want to do it for the Hispanic community. I want to help in my own language. I want to help in, yeah, to help them board my Latin community. So I focus my effort doing that. I join like Zoom calls. I join, I don't know, like NFT one-on-one sessions. I got invited to courses and other type of environments, Twitter spaces where I could do this in Spanish to help the community to get on board with this and see it the way we see it. And what I mean by that is the technology is not gonna we're gonna use in the future. We are currently using that. Like you can now live through that. It can actually improve a lot of the transactions and how do you say trámites in English? The things you do daily, like airplane tickets, like
Yeah,
identifications, like passports, like I don't know,
sure.
like college degrees, all the stuff, selling your house, your car. So everything, it can be really, really improve a lot of processes that we currently struggle within in the society. But we need to be as cautious as we can because, yeah, everything has the both sides of the friction of the situation. So yeah.
That first of all, it's amazing that you're doing that. And I have to think, obviously there's bull markets, there's bear markets, there's
Hmm.
all of that stuff. But I have to think when you're like in a position where you have to translate and relay the most important information, I have to think it's more of the potential, like the 101 of what this is, the blockchain,
Hmm.
and its potential, and not like the things that we've spent so many hours listening into Twitter space rooms, like, what is this coin going to do? Or like, how is this project going to flip this project? And just kind of like the things that really aren't the power of the blockchain, the future
Hmm.
of the blockchain. Uh, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm just I like to just think out loud. So, I mean, does that people that are wanting to learn, do you see them coming to you? Like, tell me about this from just a pure financial standpoint, or do they just sense that like this is like the internet, like this is a huge thing?
To be honest, I think I have been approached by both of like those groups, but I don't get into the financial part of it. Like
Mm,
I don't do it myself. Like I don't know, like the NFTs I have is because I intentionally want to have those NFTs. And the coins I have is because I have learned about them and I want to get like I don't know, like to keep them or to get involved with those certain coins and not I'm not a flipper, for example. And I have very close friends who have done incredibly well doing that, and I have those who has been lost everything doing that, and I respect that. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to be part of the growth of the solution, and I give you the
mm,
the tools that I have learned very humbly and what I do know. And if I don't know something, I tell them. Like I have friends that I say, like, if you want to get into, I don't know, cryptocurrencies, particularly something specific, it's not me who you need to talk to, but I can recommend you to talk to XYZ
mhm,
friends. So I don't get into that part of it. I get more into the conversation and I help people to understand how this technology can actually impact and will impact their daily life, and how we can learning this now will totally help to reduce every friction possible when things are starting going faster. It's like when we started with the internet, it was like, oh, I will never buy something online. all of us buy stuff online nowadays. People say like, I will never use a credit card. What? They're gonna steal my information. Everybody uses credit cards nowadays. Actually, they use Apple Pay or whatever type of service you use nowadays. So same thing's gonna happen with the blockchain and the technologies. Like nowadays it feels awkward, insecure, not relatable, not for me. I'm not gonna get into that, but as time goes you can see it very close. Like airlines are using it right nowadays, like banks are starting to do their own thing behind the scenes so they can test the technology and how they can use it, of course for their own interest, but society wise they can also move the needle. So yeah, actually I have a very specific example. Like nowadays in Venezuela and Argentina and in other countries in Latin America, they use a lot USDT. Like they do transactions in USDT, and they commercialize a lot because it's way more stable than consuming and purchasing in their own currency. Like if I use bolivares, which is the currency in my country in Venezuela, it's worth nothing. Like 90% of the people, they are consuming US dollars or they consuming USDT. And for me it was like, what? How do you using this thing? And I didn't like expect it. I was like, yeah, because it's way safer, faster, easier for them to offer services and businesses to other countries, and it's easier for the other country people in the other country to do the transaction and pay it accordingly. So I was like, wow, okay, I think we're going faster than I thought we could go, even in Latin America. So can you imagine what's going to happen in other more developed countries? So it's definitely a thing.
That's a great call, and I appreciate you sharing that. I mean, I feel like when you look up, we get our heads down in whatever we're into, and we look up in like institutional level, like it's starting to catch on faster than we think. Like the weeks aren't slowing down. That's you live in Florida now, right?
Yep.
Gotcha. So how often, just as an aside, how often do you get back to
Venezuela? To be honest, I haven't been. The last time I was in Venezuela was in 2014. So 10 years was the last time. Yeah. Hopefully I go back soon to visit family. But yeah, my country is in a situation. But anyway, family is good, and I get to see them, which is the good part of the thing. But yeah, I hope I can go back and visit soon.
That's the important thing, that everyone's well.
Yeah.
So back to the VeeFriends timeline here. So I'll ask you a two-part question. At what point did you feel yourself like get pushed into that like next level, like, oh, like I'm in this thing, and what was it? Was it like, were you getting to learn more about the characters and seeing the NFTs? Were you hanging out in the community and felt that? Like, was it the book games thing? I'm curious, the when and the what for you that pushed you in to get both feet in.
Wow. Well, to be honest, it was Gary all the way. Like he was doing like, oh, I'm launching this VeeFriends. Was okay. I want to get in. I don't have a VeeFriends one, but it's still my goal. It's still in my list. I know I'm gonna get there. And actually, I remember I struggled a lot because I wanted so bad, but financially didn't make sense, and I was like, I don't want to risk everything else I have built and get into this just to satisfy that desire that I want the VeeFriends one. But one of the things that definitely filled my heart and my mind at that moment is the same. Like Gary pushes hard on the things. How can I say it? Like this? Push it hard on the things that you need to evaluate yourself. He's not gonna push you to get the things because I want you to get the things. It's just get it when you are in the right position to do that step. And I didn't need it. I didn't need to do that in order to be part of the community. So I joined the book games club and I joined the community and I started to jump into Discord and I was chatting on Twitter, well, X now. So I was feeling part of the community even before I was able to buy VeeFriends Season 2. Like everything started way early. Yeah, Gary, I follow him so hard and so like yeah, I follow him so much that I was like, I know this is gonna take me where I need to be, but I don't need to be that in that level now. So I just like build my own path and made my own path with the community. And I have incredible friends now that be friends thanks to be friends and thanks to be part of the conversation, and not like limit myself like, oh, if I don't have this, I'm not able to go to the events, or I'm not able to attend to the conference, or not even talking in the chat. And it was so cool because I feel that like people who are part of this ecosystem, to say somehow, we share values, and being yourself and being part of the community and being like transparent and close and warmth is part of the things that we connect to all of us, independently of where your financial life goes, or if you have certain tokens or not. It's not about the things. When the car started, I remember, actually I remember I DM you, was like, Rob, I don't get this. I'm struggling with this, and you in 2 seconds you offer your help. Like, Lisa, don't worry, let me know if you need help, and I can explain you how this works. And I was like, actually, I realized, okay, maybe this part of the project is not my thing. But I remember to get the toys, and my niece and was about, yeah, actually now she's 1 year and 3 months, and I was like, I tell her stories about the, I don't know, genuine giraffe and gratitude gorilla, and I got the toys, and I shared that experience with my family nowadays. And so it's never, for me, was never part of the products I could get out of the VeeFriends ecosystem, is the how I feel around it and how my life improved, thanks to the people I've met in this community, and thanks to Gary's mindset, how he, yeah, he makes me move and think differently, how to approach those stuff. So it was good.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's my story too at the beginning. I didn't get a V1, but whether it's the V1 or the cards or the toys or whatever, like nobody, nothing could be truer than this statement. Like, you don't need to buy anything to be part of this community.
Yeah.
You just need to conduct yourself in a certain way, which if you're consuming Gary and you're aligning and associating with these characters and their traits, it's probably going to be for you.
Yeah.
And the people that it's not for don't stay long anyway.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's fantastic. And we were talking before we started about the dating game thing I just did, and a lot of it was fun and haha. But one of the serious overarching things that I kind of drove home to people was like, if I was single, like, this would be an amazing toll booth to find someone in this little ecosystem. I'm reluctant to call it safe, but like, it is, because if you're thinking about all of the kinds of people that you could weeding out just by associating with Gary and having that type of mindset and consuming him, and aligning with this brand, like, you're cutting out a lot of potential issues right off the bat just by picking from this pool. So I think that's I just thought that was a point worth sharing on the whole dating front, whether it's any kind of relationship, a business relationship, or friendships, or intimate relationships. So it is a fascinating group of people, and I'm just more amazed every day, the stories I hear, the people I meet, and just how people treat each other.
Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, that's what, when I remember when I read you were texting in the Twitter about this, I was like, wow, I didn't see this coming, and I was like, okay, I'm single, and I love to be within the VeeFam, and I know we share values, which we just recently spoke about. I was like, okay, so maybe this is the right spot, so I can like do this new type of relationship that I'm looking for this year. Actually, that's one of my purpose of it. I need to get into this more consciously, but it was good, and I totally agree with you that it couldn't. I wouldn't say the safest place to start dating, because like, people are crazy.
That's right.
But it's definitely, it gives me more like calm and confidence that I know we just share values, and most of the time we have met more than one. So, and even with the friends that we are, the friends that we have nowadays, like I remember, I don't know if it was VeeCon 1 or 2 where Gary directly says like, this event is gonna give you your new best friends, your new business partners, or your new couples and stuff. And I was like, that's a little bit ambitious. But once you get into the environment, you actually think that that's a possibility that might happen. So I was like, yeah, I'm open to see if that's a chapter for me within VeeFriends as well.
Yep. Like he said it, he called out the whole camp thing, and here we are, like year 3 coming up, and people are just like dying to see each other. They can't wait seeing
I'm
each
so
other
excited.
like during the year. So it's very cool, and I'm gonna make a mental note that you said that to hit you up for the second round of
Let's do
the
that.
dating game here. But one more thing, in this kind of community, people do have like, in the card world, like if you and I were making a trade, and before I send out my card, I'd go in the Discord, or I'd go on Twitter and be like, hey, like, Liza and I are thinking about this trade. Like, does anybody have any experience doing this with her? And people will vouch. So it's the same kind of thing here. Like, most of the people know each other, and if you don't have anyone to co-sign you, then just tread a little bit more lightly. But if I said like, does anybody know this Lisa girl, in Twitter or Discord, like people would be flooding with messages of stories and things. So on the safety note of that, but
That's cool.
like you said, you never really know.
Yeah.
And man, I can't believe I've never talked about dating this long on this podcast, but maybe I'm just gonna take my whole brand into another direction.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But
hilarious.
you never know. Anyway, speaking of that, tell me, I want to kind of bulk them up into 2. Let's start with VeeCon 1. Like, nobody knew what to really expect from this thing. Tell me about, like, when you first got to VeeCon, like, what was happening, and then, like, just overall, like, how was your VeeCon 1 experience in Minneapolis, Minnesota?
Wow. Well, first it was amazing because I was very excited to meet Anthony. Anthony is one of my friends that I met thanks to VeeFriends, and he lived in Greece. So it was like he was the only friend that I actually met before getting to this conference. It was like, okay, if things go very, very, very wrong for some reason, at least I'm gonna be with Anthony. So let's try this thing. So, and I remember when I got into the airport, we are still in the airport, and I was like seeing a lot of people with, like different stuff and excited and talking about the event. I was like, okay, this is cool. This feels safe. And I was traveling alone. It was my first time in a while. I was traveling to another city. I was living already in the US, but I was traveling to another city to an event that I actually didn't know nobody but the person who's also arriving from another country. So I said, okay, I can do this. Don't worry. Going back to my intention of doing this network, meeting new people, just be yourself and you'll be fine. Everything's going well. So as soon as I saw Anthony's, I was like, dude, you're here. So yeah, I felt safer. And we were like, of course, laughing and very excited about what's going to happen with VeeCon. And I remember we were the 2 of us together, and we were like waiting for an Uber, and we just met Jahan, which is another guy we met just at the airport. Was like, okay, I'm heading to the same hotel. So are you coming for VeeFriends? So I was like, yeah. So we starting to build new friendships. And as the day goes, it was so funny. We met a lot of new people on the streets in the corner, and we started to having like breakfast together and spending time together and telling each other about our families and our backgrounds. And I'm coming from India, I'm coming from Venezuela, and other people talking about Greece and like sharing photos and stuff about their families. So it was funny how fast we got into that. We have been friends forever feeling. For me, was shocking, to be honest. It was so cool. And the day one wasn't even started. We arrived the day before the day one. So I was like, we were thinking at the same time, like, this is just a thing that just happened within this community. It's maybe it's too good to be true, but we're gonna go with the flow. when day one arrived, that we were making the line to get into the field area, the energy, the vibe of the people, the kindness, the emotions, it was incredible. And of course, you see, like, I don't know, people from the. I remember we were part of the. How do you say? I just forgot the name. Anyway, I will remember one of the team with friends with the VeeFriends Gary that were doing the content area. So of course we get like I knew who was like Corso and other people around it, and Nick and other guys. And it's funny because we know them, but they don't know us, because we know them because we see them all the time and talking and chatting.
Sure.
And yeah, you are behind a PFP or whatever name. But if in my case, it was even better because I never used like a handle. I was like Liza Lopez, so, and it was my picture. So I was like, they started to like recognize who I was, because it makes sense because I only have my photo and my name, so it wasn't that difficult. But we got into that field and starting to meet new people and getting to know the people was like, I don't know, like I have been in a event with a bunch of my friends for my entire life, and let's have fun as much as we can. So it was like a summer camp type of vibe. So it was amazing. And yeah, I didn't have like, the only expectation I have, it was like, this is gonna be fun and this is my time to connect with new people and like get into the environment. And I was amazed by it second, like the type of people I've met, the type of having Gary there to give the speech and connect with each other and have the picture with him and small talk while we just signed the books and stuff. It was amazing. And the things that we were exposed as with the brands and with the technology. And I remember the first VeeCon was very like blockchain NFT driven and not as pop culture as the latest VeeCon. But it was amazing because everything was like, so guys get together, know each other, talk to someone you don't know. And I remember I was like, this is a struggle, but I'm gonna make it. So like I started to talk to different people. I was like, it feels cool. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. And yeah, and nowadays, thanks that I took that plane and went to Minnesota and decided to get into that event and to talk to those people. Nowadays, they are my friends, and nowadays, I know we see each other. Like I could go to your town and say like, "Hey, Rob, I'm here. Let's, I don't know, like have some lunch," and awesome. And we meet our families. So it's funny, and it's so cool how things started to work, just because of you have the intention to be part of this community and actually be part of it, and not just the absent member who's like like around but they don't talk or they don't interact with you to just buy the product, which is okay. I respect that, but I'm the hugger member of the team. I'm the one who always like to know how you doing, how things are going, and talk about different stuff. But yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it just brings back so many memories just hearing you kind of do a play-by-play from that weekend. It's so fascinating, and I loved your pinned tweet. I'm gonna blow the whistle on it. May 23rd, 2022. You wrote personal missions after VeeCon. You made a list of 5, of course, 5. Deploy offense around good. Number 2, make happiness louder. 3, create and find a job around what moves me and makes me happy, make other people smile. Number 4, get fears out of my head and boost my confidence. 5, educate others about Web3 and Spanish. And I mean, just in this short call and the little bit we've kept in touch, I feel like you're doing all 5 of those things.
Yep. 100% all 5 of those stuff I've accomplished happily, and I feel so excited about it. Yeah, I made that happen. And I remember when I tweeted that, I was like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And it's so fulfilling. Like I feel actually with the job, it was the last part I made it happen. I remember I was like, struggling with my job and struggling because I was just into a divorce. So I moved back from Chile to United States, and I was like, I need to figure out my life again back in the US, going back to my family house, live with my parents. So the only thing, or one of the things that kept me like out of the negative side, it was Gary and the content I consume and the VeeFriend environment and the VeeFam that I have surround me. That it was like, get, like when he says like, take out of that information that is negative that was put into your brain and fill that space with positivity and optimism and the things you actually can do and you can enjoy. So it was that point where I was like, I need to make this decision and commit that I'm gonna put all of myself to get into this right mindset. And when I did that consciously, everything started to change. But it didn't happen in a day, which is totally normal. But nowadays we think that we can get so fast because the technology and the life goes too fast. But there are certain things that takes time and takes a lot of effort. If you are not in the right place, things are not going to happen for you. And to say you have to work that out. But yeah, at the end I made it happen, and I put my mind in the environment I needed, which is all of you guys and the VeeFriend environment, and of course my family and friends which are not related to VeeFriends. But it was like I removed everything else that was becoming that noise that it wasn't help me mentally, physically, and emotionally. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that for you. And it's nice, and not to like beat the community thing to death, but like it's nice when I'm looking at this list and like thinking about the kind of person I want to be. We don't have you go to a conference a lot, and like you get like a lot of people find a mentor or accountability partner. I feel like in this community, like everyone's an accountability partner, and when it comes to like being a good person or like giving back and educating and paying it forward, because like I can't open Twitter without seeing somebody gifting somebody this or somebody doing an unbelievably nice gesture, selfless gesture to somebody else, and it's there in your face all the time. And going back to what Gary says, like you find what you're looking for, right? Like social media is empty pipes, and if we fill it with the kind of people that we want to be around and be like, and that help lift us up, like that's what we're gonna find, and that's what's gonna bring out the best in us. So I love
100%.
that. So by VeeCon 23, you were a pro, like you're rock and rolling. And now I'm thinking to you at VeeCon 23, and yeah, you were just a stud, rolling around Indianapolis. Amazing. So obviously that was a great time to let's touch on the cards for a second, because now you mentioned you reaching out. Have you got a box of cards for getting a V2?
Yep. Actually, I opened all my cards. I graded some because few friends
You did?
Yeah. I was like, guys, I have this. Why should I do with this? And then they just actually I remember Corso told me like, okay, you should grade this one, this one, this one, this one, and the rest you're okay. It's not, are you planning on trading or stuff? It was like, no yet. I don't know, maybe in the future. So it was like I remember I did that at VeeCon 23. That's what I did. But I have them all like packed in the sealed and stuff in my closet. It was like, okay, I'm gonna keep them there until I have the time to figure that out. But yeah.
So you opened up everything.
Everything. I was like, no, I'm gonna keep this seal for the future. I don't know who's that happened. No, I'm not. That I couldn't. I was like,
It's
I'm gonna
tough.
open.
It's next to impossible to do that. We tried in our house, and it didn't last long.
Exactly.
So what did you get? Anything that you recall that was like a favorite, or maybe one of the special foils?
Wow, to be honest, I don't.
Like a green one or shiny
I
brown
remember
one?
actually, no, I don't have it next to me. No, they're not here. They're just in the other bedroom. I remember, well, Accountable Ant is is the NFT I have, and it's always I'm so accountable for in general in my life. Like I'm that type of person. So that character, like of course, like it's closer to my heart. I remember I have those two cores and one. No, it wasn't. No, what's the next level of core?
Rare.
No, it wasn't rare. Very rare. Okay, so I have the very rare Accountable Ant, and I have two cores. And those I remember I have them like separate because of the character.
That's a very good card.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But the rest of them, like No, I just classified them like in order to very rare, rares, and cores. And it was like, okay, I like this one. Actually, I have friends that like Michelle, for example. She's like Dilemma. I remember she asked me for Dilemma. I was like, okay, I have all of this stuff. It's yours. So I gave them all the llamas that I had. But because I'm not into cards. So maybe I did well, maybe I did wrong. I don't know. Probably I will take all of them to VeeCon this year, and I will tell like, Rob, help me with this. What should I do with this? I don't
There's
know.
no shortage of people that will buy
Okay.
them or trade them from you.
Yeah, no, trading the cards are not like my type of product. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep them. I didn't mess up with them, but I was like, I'm gonna keep them safe here to see what happens next.
I love that. I'm happy you interacted with them because they are super fun, and they're addicting. That feeling is definitely addicting.
I can tell. Actually, I have been like in the, like the shows that you do with the opening boxes and stuff and trading, and I have a lot of fun just watching. Like I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, hell yeah, it's so much fun. Like because I see like the interactions and the will and the excitement. I don't know, and I know that's hilarious. It was like actually Michelle's is the one who's like, oh, we're doing a live today. Like please get on that one. I was like, okay. I'm here in my bed, or I don't know, like doing my computer, and then I open it and I laugh a lot because I see you guys and it's so much fun. So it's good. Even I'm not into the game as you guys, like it's fun to watch and you enjoy it and connect and fighting for the new cards and blowing the entire bedroom because something new comes up, a new card unexpected. No, it's funny. It's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's very childhood like. Quick couple questions before we head to our last segment here.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned a few friends, but a lot of people in this community, like I said, are unbelievably kind and do amazing things for each other. And most of the time, it's behind closed doors. It's not posted. People just kind of like do things privately. So I love to ask people: is there anybody you want to blow the whistle on that you've met in your VeeFriends journey in a good way? Maybe they did something for you, or you saw them do something kind for someone else. Anybody that you want to give roses to in that way?
Wow. Well, Michelle is one of them. Like we connect. It's so funny because it's like when we just saw each other was like, I'm here for you. Like for whatever you need. So she was like very nervous like me. It was like, oh, I'm not very good at huge crowds and stuff. I was okay, so let's do this together. So we started to get more together. Actually, she came to Miami a few more times. Actually, that's why we met, and I think it was in our Basel was the Gateway event that we just said Nikki, you and I, and Michelle. So it was like she has been always there for me, and I've always been there for her. So without any like, it's funny because she has been like, oh, okay, I need to, I don't know, move my NFT to a safer. She bought the ledger, so I was like, don't worry, I can help you, and I will do that for you. So I help her with everything, with the transfer and everything. I remember she was getting into new cards, so I was like, I don't know anything about cards, but if I know someone who has that card, just let me know, and I can like put the two of you together to talk, so you can get that card. So we did that, and actually we stay in the same bedroom. I remember she was like, I don't know where to stay. I was like, don't worry, you can stay with me and Michelle and Vanessa in the same bedroom. So we stayed together. I remember she was how to say, like, it was this year, no, it was last year at the Comic-Con in New York, and she was like, do you think I can make that happen? Because she does face painting, and I love
Sure,
her because it's very unique and she's very talented on you in that. So she was like, oh, I don't know how to approach VeeFriends or the team in order for me to participate in that. I was like, don't worry, you just be yourself. Like, you don't have to be someone else. You don't have to try new things. You don't have to be the most network person in the environment for you to get it. And just being there with her and appreciating her time and her talent and supporting her in any way I can, it has been a blessing. And I love to see her shining, and I love how genuine she is and how warm and yeah, and sweet she is. It has been one of the greatest friend, and I loved that she's part of my life. Anthony's as well. He's so kind. He's so amazing. So if I have to give flowers, would be to Michelle and Anthony's for sure. They are amazing people, and yeah, I love it. I love them
That's
so much.
amazing. Yeah, I adore Michelle. She's
She's
just one of
unbelievable.
the warmest people ever,
Yeah,
ever.
I love her so
Um,
much.
Amazing. I can't wait to have her on here. She's
Yay!
on my list.
Please.
The last one more question, then we'll get into a fun little rapid fire. What character do you, Lisa, need to spend more time with? Meaning to by osmosis to get more of that trait.
Wow, that's challenging. Because I haven't put my mind too much into that. I would say, because I've been like, this year was gratitude. So that was the word for this year, and I'm very grateful for stuff. Last year was accountable, being accountable for my people and my friends. So that's been to that. One thing that I need more patience. I consider myself, how do you say, more patient person nowadays. I don't know how to say that properly in English. But patient is definitely a trait that I need to work. And I think that will be my intention into that 100%, because when I have pushing things to happen faster, I always have like signs in the universe that says, it's going to happen when it's the right time to happen. So be patient. So that's a trait that I need to get closer to that for sure.
I love that. That's a great answer. So for our last segment, well, before our last segment, I just want to give some roses to you and thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Love it.
You know, you Michelle, like your whole crew, just has a soft spot in my heart. You guys are the best, and I love that picture of us on the lawn of VeeCon.
Yeah.
You guys are just awesome.
We
And
need to
just
renew that
like,
photo this year.
yes, definitely, absolutely. But yeah, you guys, you're just the best. So warm and such an amazing ambassadors for the kind of people that we have here in our little club. So thank you for coming on. Like, I love part of like I don't- I feel like when you coming on, I just wanted like an hour to hang out, like with nothing like just blocked off. I don't need to pull any quotes. I just want to really hang. So
Yeah.
thank you for being here.
No, my pleasure.
Um,
Thank you. I love it.
for our last segment, I call it micro macro spitfire. So I'm going to throw a bunch of fast questions at you. You could answer in general as quick and as general as you want, or you can get out your microscope and really elaborate why you're answering that. So totally up to you.
Okay.
Here we go. Micro macro spitfire. Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
Why? I remember it was a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, because my sister traveled alone only to get that t-shirt for me. So it has a special space in my heart. I still have it.
Amazing. What was your favorite IP or brand as a kid?
IP or brand? Scooby-Doo. I love it. I don't know why. I just love it. Still my favorite show when I catch it.
If what brand or influencer, if you heard or saw on Twitter that they were coming out with an NFT tomorrow, would you like stop everything and ape in, buy it right away? A
Wow.
brand a person?
A brand or a person, I would say Michelle Poller, which is a Venezuelan speaker and influencer. And she has a community which name is Créetelo, which is believe in yourself. So I know if she comes up with an NFT collection, I would just jump and get it.
A secret talent you have that most people don't know?
Wow, a secret talent they don't know. Okay, I would say that I'm very good with presentations and help people to build their pitch for an interview.
Oh, wow. All right, maybe I'll have to hit you up.
Call me when you need that
what's your
help.
what's your favorite piece of physical VeeFriends memorabilia?
Oh, I would say the genuine giraffe. It's not the toy, there's a
Fun.
squishy. Yeah, I love her. Actually, I just gave it to my niece, and I love her. but this is a love that we shared, the both of us.
Amazing. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? What's my favorite movie? I don't have favorite movies, to be honest. I don't know. I would say, I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't have one, I think.
All right. That's fair. Fancy hotel or hiking and camping in the woods?
Oh, wow. I will go into the middle, not the fancy hotel, not the camping thing, maybe just small, how do you say, like small cabin in the woods, just in the middle.
Okay. In the middle.
Yeah.
Meet me in the middle.
Maybe in the middle.
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
Favorite concert, Backstreet Boys with my cousin. That was like 8 years ago. Wow. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, so like a reunion tour.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I think it was my favorite because of the reunion, not that I think out loud. But yeah.
Reunions are special.
Always.
Wine, beer, or coffee?
Oh, wine. Wine. I was close to say beer, but wine.
This year, VeeCon is 2024 is in Los Angeles. Will there be a VeeCon 2025? And if so, what city is it going to be in?
I think we'll be in Toronto, maybe. I think so.
So I'm going to assume you think yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Toronto.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Toronto. That's my guess.
Gratitude Gorilla or Patient Panda?
Oh, Patient Panda. I need to learn more about the Patient Panda.
Would you rather have a 2-hour group dinner with Gary, so like you and let's say 9 other people, or a 15-minute one-on-one?
Go with the group dinner. So I have Gary and other people to connect.
And finally, if you could ask Gary one question, he has to answer honestly. What question are you asking Gary V?
Wow, that's a challenge. I would say, if you think we can get this community into a next phase, because I don't think it's a thing, what is your projection about that? How far you want to take that community as a concept moving forward?
I love that. Lisa, thank you so much for being on. I just adore you. You're the best.
Adore
Can't
you
wait to see you
too.
in LA.
So excited.
It's going to be here before we know it.
Can't wait.
And we'll talk soon.
Of course. Thank you, Rob, for having me here. It was a total pleasure. I love you. Thank you. Awesome.